Radio.org. Okay, we have a very special show for you today on Radio.org, the Dr. No Show. We have the cast from Then They Came For Me, and it's a play about the Holocaust and about a woman who's now 82, Eva Schloss. And in the studio we have Erica Gonzalez, who played Eva Schloss, Cara Rodriguez, who played the mom, Joelle Frazier, who was assistant to the director, and Cypress Rhodes, who was Ed Silverberg. So I'm going to start it off with Erica because she had the main role, but everybody can jump in. What was it like? What was it like being in this production?
It was an amazing experience as a high school senior. We started back in September, coming in every single week. We'd be in here Tuesdays, we'd be in here Saturdays, and then of course meeting Eva Schloss, amazing experience, this amazing woman with just so much to teach us and so much for us. It was just the best experience of my life, easily.
Okay. All right. Mom, who was played by Cara. Cara, what was it like?
It was clearly a unique experience for me, both in exploring the history of the play and taking on the role of a mom. But I think that this play has really illuminated me, and I'm sure the rest of the cast, on what the Holocaust is really about. And I know that a lot of us are taught about the monstrosities associated with this event in history, but I think the greatest lesson that I have learned was that it's really about the strength of the human spirit and survival.
Okay. Cypress? Cypress Rhodes?
Yes, sorry.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Okay, Cypress, you played Ed Silverberg, the boyfriend of Anne Frank, am I right?
Yes.
And Cypress, what did you take from this?
It was really interesting to actually play as real people because, in theater usually we make up our characters, or our characters are really derived from ourselves. And, we had so much information. We were playing real people, so it's more of an expectation we had to live up to.
Okay. And Joelle Frazier, who was a former student of mine, she was assistant to the director. And is that what was your actual position, Joelle?
I was Miss Arda's right hand man, in preparing rehearsals and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Were you like a stage manager?
Yes.
Yeah, you were a stage manager. Make sure everybody was on their right spot at the right cue, that kind of thing?
Yes.
Okay. And did you enjoy it? What did you get from it?
Well, for one, I love the play itself because I'm so interested in the Holocaust. Mm-hmm. So getting to see it from a point of view other than, just Anne Frank, which is what everyone knows about, mm-hmm. It was interesting to, learn someone else's story, and then working with my classmates and mm-hmm. working with Ms. Arders, who was a good experience.
Long time? Did it take a lot of hours?
Yeah.
Understatement? Yes, okay. Does anybody know where the term Holocaust comes from?
Slips my mind.
Darn.
I remember I learned this in history class.
Greek. It's Greek. And it comes
burning.
Yes, burning. It comes from the word burning and whole. So it means whole burning or catastrophe, okay? And do you know the country that it most affected? I mean, affected a lot of countries, but the number one country in Europe that it most affected.
Poland. That's my
Yes.
guess.
Poland was
I would say Germany.
Poland for 500.
Poland. 3 million.
Poland.
3 million people.
Good job.
Poland over 90% of all Jewish people were killed in Poland, with 3 million.
We remember,
Yeah.
we spoke to 2 Holocaust survivors.
Oh yeah,
It
and
was-
then
The Polish and Frank.
Yes.
Sally Frischberg.
Yeah, she's the one that told us about that.
Germany had 90% also, the same percentage, but their Jewish population was only about 250,000 people, so it was a lot less, okay? Eva Schloss is a young girl, okay? If you put yourself in her place, do you think you could have, Erica, you think you could have gone through what she had gone through?
Honestly, I do not think so. The will that it must have taken for a 15-year-old girl to go through 9 months of being, it's just crazy. I get like my nail breaks and I'm like, oh. So what she went through is just incredible, and the way that she is, how she talks about it now, it's admirable, it's beautiful. The way she tells her story.
What anybody can jump in here now. I mean, what did you find out about the Holocaust that you didn't already know before you did this play?
Truly,
Anybody?
honestly, I didn't know much about the restrictions on the activities of the Jewish people, like going to the movies, using public transportation, things like that. I wasn't really aware of. So I think that was pretty interesting for me, that this occurred over time, this alienation of the Jewish people. And it wasn't just one day people were just being shipped off to concentration camps.
Do you know that most of the people didn't know they were going to be exterminated? They thought they were going to be relocated.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what the Polish Anne Frank said when she, what was her name again?
Was it about her
Sally
dad?
Frischberg.
Sally Frischberg. She said that because her grandfather still believed that the Germans were still kind people. They were still good people because they told them they were just going to relocate them to these nice houses and stuff. And while all the other Jews escaped, he was the only one that went on the trains.
So out of that concentration camp, was part of Auschwitz, right? There was 10,000 that originally went in, and what I read in the book, that it was only 200 that survived out of 10,000. So that's incredible in itself. What do you girls think, and guys, what do you think that a country like Germany, which is not a third world country, not an uncivilized country, an industrial nation, sophisticated industrial nation, how could they do something like this? How did you ever think about how could a population, an educated population, do something like this? 8 million Jewish people, over 17 million people actually were killed in concentration camps if you add Russia and various other things. How could that have happened?
It's
think-
just, go ahead, Joe.
I think it was just like by people not standing up for what they really believed in, because I'm sure a lot of the Germans didn't agree with what Hitler was doing, but no one was bold enough, or no one was, I don't know.
People were afraid, right?
Yeah.
They were fearful.
A lot of Germans in America fought against, family members and stuff. I know my dad's family, his grandfather fought in World War II against his, he could have been killing his own cousins without him knowing. And it was just, there was just that retaliation because they were just doing what they were told to do, after, being so young, like the Hitler Youth, and being brought up since they were 5, 6, 7 years old. When you're brought up into something, you just
don't-
follow orders.
Yeah, you're not analyzing it, you're not critiquing it. What I don't get is why, when the writing was on the wall, when Adolf Hitler got into power, I mean, if I was a Jewish person and I was living anywhere around Hitler, I would have been out of there. Why do you think they stayed on? I mean, why would they stay to 1938, 39? Go ahead, sorry. Go ahead.
I think it had a lot to do
All right.
with something Ed Silverberg said, that how could they? Civilized people just don't do things like that. And I think it was sort of right place, right time for Hitler. He was this seemingly dynamic leader for the German people. They loved him, they adored him, and he saved them from the horrible conditions that Germany was in after World War I. And sort of here comes along this great hero, and you're listening to him, and you're rallying under the flag saying yes, yes, and then years pass and things change, and I think that had a lot to do with why sort of no one said anything, or well, sort of why it was easier for him than as opposed to someone coming into our country now and saying things like that.
I think it was, piggybacking on what Erica was saying, I think it was also that he had made so many improvements in Germany, economy-wise, getting violence off the street, so many other things, that once he started really bringing this animosity toward the Jews, I mean, he had done so many good things that...
But if you read Mein Kampf, I mean, if you read what his book, Mein Kampf, definitely was targeting the Jews. And what did you think was going to happen? I mean, and then when he got into power, all the atrocities that were coming about, and all the stores that were being smashed, and all the people that were being displaced. I mean, I don't understand that part of it. I just would have got my hiney out of there. Excuse me, but I would have got out of there as quick as possible. I mean, I don't see it. You know?
My character's father had told him he thought that it was just gonna blow over, that the German people were too civilized, too smart to allow this to happen. But
that must have been it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it must have been. They must. Oh, this can't continue. This can't continue to go on, and that sort of thing. Has any one of you been to Washington D.C.?
Oh no.
The Holocaust Museum?
No.
No one.
Yeah, that would have been nice.
You've got to go. I mean, especially you guys. You have to go, because that is whatever in your play. Let me say, it was one of the best, most profound moments I personally had seeing theater. Okay, and that's professional theater. Everything. It was a profound experience. It was life changing. It was that good. And I think your director and Debbie Arters, Miss Arters, was fantastic, and and Joelle, you worked with her closely, right?
Yes.
And was she?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I think it just was. So you really have to go down to Washington D.C. You must see that. It just will complete everything that you guys were doing. Okay, and you will see what you were acting out. I mean, you will see visually what. There's a room there that is just full of shoes that went into the showers. They had to take their shoes off. They got about 40,000 of them there. Just the energy from those shoes is so it overwhelms you. So it just was amazing. So I'm going to go to a commercial break, okay? And then we're going to get Miss Arters in here, okay?
All right.
So let's go to a little commercial break, and we'll be back. WHHGradio.org. Keep it locked.
One voice. It can get the point across, but it only carries so far. Add a voice. It's richer, louder, but that has limits too. Add a third voice. It's even more powerful. Add another, and another, and many, many more. And we are stronger than ever. That's the power of a community coalition. They help community groups, faith groups, civic organizations, PTAs, employers, and many others in your community organize their resources and focus them where they're needed most, like fighting to keep kids away from drugs. Ask a group that you belong to if they should belong to a community coalition. It's easy to get involved. Visit helpyourcommunity.org and they'll tell you exactly how your group can help. That's helpyourcommunity.org, because you get more when you get together. Brought to you by the Office of National Drug Control Policy and the Ad Council.
Okay, it's a special Dr. No show. We're talking about the play, the Holocaust play, When They Came for Me. Story of Eva Schloss, her experiences. And joining us is the director and teacher, Deborah Arders, of the drama class. And welcome to the show, Miss Arders.
Thank you so much. It's a real pleasure to be here.
Okay. We were talking about what the play meant to the students. I want to ask you, what did the play mean to you, and what did you get from it?
That's a loaded question. Right. I really didn't know going in how much it was going to affect me. I'm a real humanitarian, so I care about people. I care about how they are in their lives. Mm-hmm. So I'm always aware of injustice, but when it was this palpable and this significant, I felt compelled to address it, and I also thought that it could impact our school and our students. And because we have a small Jewish population, I really felt like no one really understood the cultural devastation for the Jews, and I felt like it was important.
And how did you put this all together? Get Eva Schloss here, get the play. How did that process all come about?
Well, getting Eva had to do with the fact that I'm a good emailer.
You're a good emailer?
Yes. I would check in with her. I would let her know how our play was going. I invited her to stay with me in my home. But mostly, we had a really good connection, and I got her contact information from Susan Kerner from Montclair University, because I saw the original production at George Street Playhouse that our own Scott Killian did the music for, and I saw that production, so I knew that Susan Kerner, the original director, would have her contact information. So and since we are involved with Montclair University, our drama department, I just asked Susan, what is her email address, and I started contacting her. So that's how, but she wasn't sure if she could make it, and I know she's getting older and her husband's not feeling well, so I wasn't sure if it was going to happen, but I kind of felt like it was even from the beginning. Even
she lived in England. Oh, she lives in England, right?
She lives in England,
right.
Yeah.
So the school actually brought her here, right? They footed everything and financially and that sort of thing, and brought her here, and she stayed for how long?
She stayed here for 4 days.
Wow.
She came on a Wednesday and she left on a Sunday, so that's actually 5, I think. I'm not sure. I'm not a math major.
We're drama majors.
All right. So I mean, it's an amazing story, just that the process of getting her here. And you're very involved in the Holocaust, right? You are on some committees and other things, Debbie?
Yeah, well, right now, what happened in the very beginning was I put together a proposal to try to get funding for our show, outside funding. And I went on the Commissioner of Education, the Holocaust Education website, so that I would know what I was talking about, and I did my research. And then I found this wonderful opportunity to submit an application to become part of the Master Teachers Institute at Rutgers. And I promoted myself to get a position in that class, to be offered, because it's only like 15 to 20 teachers in New Jersey get accepted. And so I started taking those classes. So, and last night, at last night's class, I met Paul Winkler, the Commissioner on Education for the Holocaust. And I just emailed him today. So as you can see, I'm a good emailer.
Okay.
So yeah, that's my involvement. Plus, living in New York City has given me such a sensitivity to all cultures, not
Right.
just the Jewish culture. But
Right.
yeah.
Well, that is an amazing story. I want to ask this question, and this is open to everybody. You all talked to Eva Schloss. You all had a connection with her. What kind of woman is she? How did she affect you? And in what ways? Anybody can jump in.
Oh, she was such a warm and peaceful person. When you just see her, you could tell that she had so much to offer us, not just information-wise in terms of her wisdom, but her energy was so unique and lovely that she lit up the room. When she came into the green room to talk to us, we all felt just this amazing sense of unity and connection to her. She's such an amazing person.
That she knew, she was Anne Frank's stepsister, and for me, as early as I can remember, I knew about Anne Frank. That in itself kind of was surreal in a sense, you know, because we were told about Anne Frank when I was in third grade, I guess. I remember that. So to actually have someone here that was her friend, was her stepsister, that in itself was something I never thought I'd ever have an experience of, you know. So do you people feel a connection or anything to Anne Frank? I mean, how is she embedded in your psyche in any way? Like, do you carry her with you?
I think most definitely now. It's weird because we've known this name, like you said, for I think as long as we can possibly remember, and it's incredible to have something brought to life, sort of, and have that name really like mean a person and mean it was this woman's friend, her very cherished friend for such a long time. And it was incredible, and I think I'll always carry that with me for the rest of my life.
Have any of you ever felt any sort of persecution or bias or attitudes against you for being who you are? Have you ever experienced anything like that to any degree? Did this ring true to you in any aspect of your life?
Well, you know, as being students and any kind of elementary school, middle school, high school, we all get picked on by people who, you know, don't like us or don't agree with what we do and how we, you know, as, you know, not everyone likes the performing arts students. They think that we're snobby or too out there and too
Different.
Yeah, too different in classes and stuff like that. So that, you know, they poke fun at us, but even we have the best time of our lives in performing arts, and it's you know, it's something that they're missing out on. And I know you know, I first thought like I don't want to be a performing arts student. No one likes them and stuff, and I enjoyed it so much.
Are you all seniors?
Yes.
Everyone is a senior?
Yes.
Everybody's graduating. Now, I know Erica's going to Louisiana. Is that still, you're still going there?
Yes.
Okay. Where is everybody else going?
Rutgers.
Rutgers?
I'm going to Rutgers too for theater and criminal justice.
Wow.
I'm going to DePaul University in Chicago to get my degree in theater arts.
Okay. Joelle?
Rutgers for
Joelle.
criminal
Rutgers?
justice.
Rutgers, okay.
Hey,
Joelle's over here,
Oh,
so she's still part of it.
Good.
Although we don't see her, we do hear her, and are you all going for theater, or are you going for what?
Two of us are.
Who's going for? I know Erica's going for theater. Right? No.
Actually not.
Oh, okay, all right. Okay, who's going for theater? Who's going to be a drama?
And me too.
Okay, you two.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So, I have a degree in drama. I have a master's degree in it.
Oh,
I have a
Oh.
I don't know how I got in radio, or, but I had a minor in psychology. I had a major in psychology, and then I went for a master's in theater arts.
Wow.
But so
Okay, John.
I
Now we
think-
know who to cast in
No,
our
no, no,
next
no,
one.
no. But, all right. I'm going to kind of wrap the show up. Any final comments? Anybody want to leave us with your last impressions of this, or you want to, leave us with a final conclusion on anything?
Well, does anybody remember the poem, And Then They Came for Me?
Word by word.
Yeah.
But we could paraphrase it, maybe.
I think it was first they came for the communists. I didn't say anything because I wasn't a communist. Then they came for.
The Catholics? No, it wasn't religious. Then they came for.
I think.
Well, I guess we don't.
I
know.
guess I was just going
And
to
then they
ask
came
you-
for me.
I was just going to ask you, Erica, how do you remember all your lines like that? That was one of the hardest things for me to learn lines. I was like Marlon Brando, hold a cue card up behind somebody. I couldn't remember any lines, but did anybody have trouble with remembering lines? Or
Pretty good.
Oy vey.
No?
I think when you're in rehearsal that much and
Yeah,
you're
it
just,
just comes to
living,
you, yeah.
breathing this,
Yeah.
we quote lines outside of the show at this point.
Right. And you've all become good friends?
Yeah.
No enemy? You haven't got discussed?
We haven't become
you know?
enemies.
Sometimes you see a
Everyone
person
fights
so
once in
much
a
you
while.
want to
No,
get
I
away.
know.
do
Well,
consider
I
you
will
guys
say
brothers.
they act like brothers and sisters.
Wow, that's
You
good.
know, it's like, in junior year, they were still, sort of just class associates. But by the end of senior year,
Yeah.
all the facades and the walls are dropped.
And Miss
and-
Artis, you said you put your family on hold for a couple of months, or they ate a lot of TV dinners and stuff like that?
I didn't even go food shopping. No, well, as everybody knows, it's the arts. To really tell a story or to really commit, I don't know. I became a little obsessed, I'll have to admit. I started watching Holocaust footage and documentaries and reading. I mean, I really immersed myself into the world of the play. And I loved it. I thought it was really special. And the last thing that I'd like to say is that I decided to do this play because of the four people who are here. And I did that because I knew that these four people would be serviced by this production, not just artistically, but emotionally and socially. And when I thought about this project, I was hoping that they would take it on and bring it into their hearts, and they did. And I'm
certainly did.
extremely, extremely grateful for the work that they put into it, and extremely delighted into the people that they've developed into at all these years, and spending time with them, and I'm really going to miss them.
Yeah, they brought you brought it not only into their hearts, they brought it into other people's hearts too. Anybody say anything to you that kind of outside a great job, or anything that you may remember we'll end it that we may remember it for the rest of your life?
Well,
Anybody come up to you and say something?
I know my mom said that she enjoyed the question and answer a lot, and she said that that was her favorite part of the play, because it wasn't just like she enjoyed the play a lot, and she and she loved what Eva said, but she loved the answers that each and every student gave out from their hearts, and she can tell that we really learned from the play that that we can, because we constantly just, our play was just about making sure that didn't happen again, for change, for this world to become a better place, and she saw that in all of us, and she enjoyed it a lot.
Anybody else? No?
Well, I think I remember someone saying that in all the years that they've studied the Holocaust or tried to get kids to learn about the Holocaust, that seeing the show had given them the most clear understanding of what it was really about. And I think that's the compliment that I most treasured.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. Well, I'm going to end it now. And that's our Dr. No ending that I actually put together from the Dr. No show. I want to thank you, the cast from Then They Came For Me, Erica and Kate, Kara and Joelle and Cypress and Miss Arters. And I'm Mr. P. And thank you very much for being on WHI.